Yeah, it's all about you, Lee.
We are live.
All right, let's call this meeting of the Missouri Western State University Board of Governors to order. And let's have a motion for approval of the minutes of the last meeting.
Go move.
Second.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. The first item of business is to approve the minute that you just did.
On to the second.
Okay, yeah, on to the second. We'll now move to the Board of Governors Personnel, Finance, and Operations Committee report. The report of the Personnel, Finance, and Operations Committee will be given by Chair Mr. Landis.
Well, this is going to be pretty short because the Board of Governors Personnel, Finance, and Operation Committee meeting has been rescheduled for Thursday, May 12th in the boardroom at 11 a.m.
Okay, May the 12th.
What it
11
says.
Okay. Well, thank you, Governor Landis. We'll now hear the Vice President's reports. First up is Darrell Morrison, Vice President of Finance.
Good afternoon, governors. Pleasure to see you. I'm glad the weather's warmer today than it has been. So, just a little bit of an update. As Governor Landis indicated, the committee did not meet this time, but will be meeting in a couple of weeks. I do want to update you on the finances of the university, give you an overview during our time together. All of these items are in your book, and I'll just do the summary for everything instead of the individual fund types. But you can see our revenues are progressing much as we have revised them to be. We're at 93.8%. We're still a quarter to go. These are March 31 numbers. So we're doing well. We have 97.5%, about 2.5%. So that remaining on the tuition fees, which tells you where our summer lies. I will tell you that, and I'm sure Dr. Mace will have more on this in her report, but summer numbers look promising from what they have been in years past. So hopefully we'll be something above 97.5. Hopefully we'll be at over 100% when we finish the year on that. So as you look down through this, there's a few things that we still need to tidy up and some collections that we need to do on some non-governmental grants and contracts. And a lot of those things are just timing issues when you do these things. Okay. As you can see, we've had to make $3.2 million worth of negative adjustments in the current year, but again, no real major concern. It's just not a trend that we want to continue to happen, right? But the revenues were down, but we've adjusted to within our means, so we're in good shape there. Okay. As you look at our operating expenses, you see where we're at. You would think that the 75% mark, just as a general benchmark, is where we would be on these through 3/4 of a year. We're a little higher on some of those things, particularly scholarships and insurance jump out at you. But that's just the timing on when the insurance bills are due and things like that. And scholarships, as you all know, they're awarded early in the semester. So they're awarded in January, early February timeframe. And so that number is going to be higher as well. Salaries are below, and fringe benefits and things are a little below where we anticipated. Quite honestly, that is due to some unfilled positions that we have. So we have a lot of staff and faculty that are picking up extra duties and have been during this time as we look to fill some of these positions. Okay. As we move on to the next, you see we're right at 75% on our state appropriations. So we're exactly where we need to be on that. Capital appropriations, we're looking at some reimbursements to loosen all that. We have the 3.144 number in there. 644, just to refresh your memory, was for Scanlon Hall. We have received those funds and have been. The remaining 2.5 we will receive by the end of the year, okay, on those capital appropriations, okay? If we do not, we've made allowances to roll those over to a future year in legislation, okay, if we're unable to complete projects, okay? So we'll cover that. Investment income is way below what we anticipated. Part of that is we're having a little bit of an issue with some investment revenue, some refunding on some bonds that we're working with the Internal Revenue Service on. Okay, and that's one of the things that's held that back slightly. So we expect to get that taken care of. Of course, outside of that, I don't know about any of you personally, but my own investments aren't doing as good as I'd like for them to do right now. So, but this is just a benchmark at that time, okay? You can see the capital number, and we've made quite a few adjustments for capital. As a lot of that is the ARPA money, the HERF funding, where we've utilized it and put it back into the facilities of the plant. Brian Atkins, physical plant staff, working tirelessly on a lot of this. So that's where we're at on those things, okay? Then you look at the bottom line, and what you need to see is we're currently, our budget, we're predicting $169,000 above. We're at 8.4. Please keep in mind that 8.4 number looks great today, but we have a lot of expenses and not much revenue coming in the remainder of the year. So that's how that's flowing. Okay. From a cash standpoint, just looking at the March numbers here, 14.5 a couple of years ago, up 17.2 now, making strides there to become more self-sustaining, I guess might be the right word, but really just in a better financial position overall, which is why this body lifted the hold of financial emergency state at an April 6th meeting. So thank you for that. Much more on this. Okay. Any questions, comments on the financial report? So I said individual fund types are in the book. Yes, Governor Woolman.
I know we've talked about it, but under the operating revenue, the change in the federal grants and stuff on the first slide that you had a $2 million.
Yeah. Basically, that was a reclassification. A lot of that $2 million on the first slide here.
Yes.
Let me go back. Yeah, the 2.2, that's a reclassification. They deemed it, the reporting entity deemed that to be non-operating as opposed to operating. And so we had to reclassify that. And that was a ruling that came out after we had created the budget. But yes, you're right. Well, I believe we have spoken to that.
Yeah.
But yes, that's a very good question.
Thank
you. Okay. Other comments, questions?
So,
I must be doing well, so nobody's asking me questions.
hold on there.
Uh-oh.
So if I read that right, projected end of year budget, we're going to be 169,000 to
That based on our budget, yes.
Uh-huh. Okay. Back on the first slide, you had 3.2 million negative adjustment.
Yes.
Maybe you explained that, but I didn't catch it. Can you do that again?
Let me get to the right here.
Yes.
Okay, that's our operating revenues, 3.2. 2.2 of that, okay, is what Governor Woolman was discussing, is a reclassification of federal grants from the operating revenue line down to the non-operating below, which leaves us then right at about $1 million that we have cut in various places, and some places some increases, right? So like the rest of it would be Governor Eversole, the 387 from student tuition and fees that we've had to adjust from our original. Our housing numbers have not been what they wanted to be. We wanted them to be in along with the food service numbers. But at the same time, we received some numbers, some grant money from state and non-governmental grants, local grants and things that we were not expecting. So all of that nets out to about a net of $1 million on that.
Okay, I see now. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Any other questions?
Do we own the bookstore or we just get a cut of the action?
We get a cut of the action. That's a nice way of saying it. No, we outsource our bookstore to Barnes and Noble. We have a contract with them. We get commissions from them, and they handle and work with our faculty and staff on mainly faculty on book adoptions and things like that. And then we get percentages on commissions and things like that for providing them a space. Yes.
Do we notice a difference in being moved over to the library in the sales?
Actually, yeah. Space wise, it's been great because we now have an esports arena, right, for our student population. From a sales perspective, it's been a little bit challenging. And I've talked with them, not necessarily on the books, but on the merchandising. But they've had a little bit of challenge on some of those things. And it's hard for me, Governor Schoonover, to know if it is the result of a new location or is it a result of a pandemic. With less students on campus, living on campus in our residence halls and things like that. I will tell you that we've had some, no data to back this up, just, so it's not analytic, but I've had a lot of compliments on the ease of access to get to the bookstore because you can park and just walk across the street and it's there, that sort of thing. So.
I would say too, this year, we had a new program enrolled out for like first day textbooks. So
Yes.
the process of getting textbooks has looked a little bit different for students as well.
Yes, it has. It has. And First Day is a program that, and I'm getting a little bit off track, but I do want to share this with you. First Day is a program where students rent books basically. And it really works well.
Mhm.
There are campuses, and this is something that we may look at longer term, where we just charge a flat fee and we provide your books to you. Okay. And you just basically go over there and pick them up. And it's all incorporated into the overall thing. There are some campuses that have moved to that. It seems to be working well. It's in the early stages, but there are 2 or 3 out there that are working with the Barnes and Nobles, the Follettes, the normal bookstore people on that. Now, there are some self-op universities that have done it for some time.
Do we as a university have any control over the pricing? In other words, the cost of books double over a semester? Is that out of our hands?
Yes, generally speaking, yes. I mean, we talk to them. It's a little different with the price of books and stuff because it's a publisher issue and it's not generally they're the middleman. So it's really, they're not the ones jacking up the price. It's the publisher, not the Barnes and Noble. I'm sure their commissions are basically the same. It's a little different than when we do food service on campus, where I sit down and analyze and go back and forth and argue with them a little bit about their rate increases and things like that.
What's our contract with Barnes and Noble as far as the length?
I think it's, don't hold me to this, Governor Eversole, but I believe 24. It's 24. I will say this, I extended it out. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 years. My purchasing people aren't in the room, but 1 or 2 years. And because I said, I will extend you out. We need the service. If you will give me X number of dollars to remodel this space. And so that's what we did.
Okay.
So no changes to the contract other than an extension, right? No more commissions, no more any of that thing. I didn't change it in principle, just that the length of time. But we'll be going out because all of these things have a sunset. Generally 7 years, no more than 10.
Okay.
One other note on the merchandising aspect of it.
Yes.
Do we have the capacity to keep, a small amount of the merchandise in the Center for Student Involvement, as they've got extended hours and there's students in and out of that more and more?
Yeah, and one of the things, and you may have noticed, you may not have noticed, but there'll be a commencement next weekend. That's something that I've asked them to do. It's a great time. Parents, family are there. They're excited that their child is graduating, or their significant other, or whatever, right? It's a great time to put an MWSU t-shirt on, right? Or to buy a frame to put that diploma in. So a lot of things like that. I will tell you, last year was the first year we did it down at Civic Arena. And I think I'd have to check with Adam, but it seems I recall they did about $7,500 worth of merchandise sales just that one day for that. So I was impressed with that.
I know they were at the Grad Fest, and
Yes,
there was a lot of merchandise there as well.
Right, absolutely. So, okay. Thank you. Hearing no more questions, we'll move on to the next agenda item. And that is I'm requesting approvals. What I did, guys, on my slide. Okay, we'll miss you, Chris. Sorry. You're a good man, but I'm struggling enough, son. So we have approval request. There are 3 items in your board book. The first one is a request for proposal. Okay, it's 22-056. It is an audio system upgrade for the Looney Arena. What we're proposing to do on this is we had sound experts and people look at this and came out and gave us a proposal to what can we do to make the experience better. If you've been in Looney for a convocation, or you've been in Looney for a basketball game or a volleyball game or something, the sound in there is quite challenging. And so one of the things that we did is we came out and we talked about all the different events, how the baffling would work and the sound, and how we could get a better experience for everyone. And so the proposal that the committee recommended is found in section B, page 21 in your board book, is a group out of Springfield. That particular group, they do a lot of work in such facilities as the Grand Theater in Branson and some other venues like that. So well-respected, well-established firm. And so just requesting your approval for us to move forward on that. We hope to have that completed by the fall.
Okay, there's a request for a proposal brought to the board. Do I have a motion to approve the proposal RFP 22-56 Looney Arena Audio System Upgrade as presented?
Governor Eversole, what was the number on the other bid that you received?
It was not a bid. Their proposal was 90 some odd thousand, but did not include a full assessment of it. But they said, we'll come back out and do it. Well, no, we're looking for a proposal that's all inclusive on this. If, we're not the experts, you're the experts. And that's one of the reasons that the committee felt like.
So Darren, just for clarification, this is installing a new system?
This is installing the system, yes. There's a complete design for the facility with a listing of all the equipment and all the speakers and the types of baffling that will be put in and the controls, and also training for our staff on how to operate.
So this is turnkey.
This is turnkey. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, if the sound's not better next fall, go see Dr. Kennedy. Okay. Okay. The next item is a bid proposal for Wilson Hall window replacement. Okay, it is bid FB 22058. It's on page 22 of your book. We've had several companies take a look at this. You know, Wilson Hall is one of the most challenging academic buildings on campus for a lot of reasons. But when the windows leak, it's time to do something. These funds for this particular project are funds that we had set aside as part of our deferred maintenance money from the state. Okay, using university repair and replacement, but it's really state funds that we're using on this, and that was part of that original $2.5 million. And so the idea is to try to get these installed over the summer months. Okay.
Okay. There are two requests for bid approval brought to the board. Do I have a motion to approve bid FB 22-058 Wilson Hall window replacement as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. The last item on here is a Murphy Hall Respiratory Therapy Lab. We're asking that you approve Lee Grover, a construction company, a local St. Joe company here for this. This is a GEARS grant that Dr. Crystal Harris in conjunction with a few others, but Dr. Harris primarily wrote. The request for this was slightly over $1 million. I will tell you that the way this is working, the overall project to build a new RT lab, this is the construction piece that's being handled by university funds that are coming via fundraising endeavors of our foundation, particularly Dr. Kennedy, where we have secured some funding from a local health organization in town of $500,000 to cover that. And this is the construction piece, but the other part will be with the GEARS grant and will be for the funding of the equipment and the lab equipment and furnishings and things like that for that. So
Mr. Morrison, is this within an existing facility?
it is within its existing facility. It is on second floor of Murphy Hall, okay, which was occupied with some faculty offices, and Griffin Media had 3 different spaces in that facility that are now being engulfed into this RT area. And they have moved. There's a bigger plan at work here, Governor Epperson, in the sense that we had hoped to delay this, but because of accreditation and some other things, we've had to push this up and get going on it a little sooner than we anticipated. But I must say that he's actually one of the gentlemen in here today, Dr. Ed Taylor, who was heading up our communication department. Many of his faculty had to move out of that area. And so Dr. Taylor, Dr. Charlton, and Dr. Hire worked with myself and Brian Atkins, and we got them moved out mid-semester, which is the very thing I did not want to do, is have someone move in the middle of the semester. But they were very agreeable and were great team players. And so they've moved into a temporary location in Eder Hall, but their long-term landing spot will be in Spratt Hall in the upstairs, second floor Spratt Hall. And that's a construction project that is underway as part of our facility management study, really.
Okay. Any other questions or discussions on this item? Then do I have a motion to approve bid FB 22-059 Murphy Hall Respiratory Therapy Lab as presented?
So moved.
Second. Do we have a second? Thank you, Governor Landis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Thank you. I see the former faculty senate president in the back of the room. He happens to reside in Wilson, so the fact that he may get a new window is probably news to his ears. So, the last slide I have for you, and this has already been mentioned by Governor Landis, we will be meeting as a committee on May 12th to discuss the university budget for next year. We will talk about tuition and fee increases. We'll talk about state funding. We'll talk about employee compensation and other related matters. Regarding employee compensation, let me say that Dr. Kennedy, late in the fall, we started a market analysis study because of high turnover and just quite honestly, our folks not getting paid what they need to be paid in the world in which we live. And so we did a market analysis. She appointed an ad hoc committee, many of which are serving on that committee with me in this room. But we have worked tirelessly and looked at various scenarios. We've been back and forth in an effort to try to deal with things such as not only market adjustment, but then compression and longevity and all these various things that come in anytime you build a salary plan. We think we have something that's workable out of the committee. And so that's one of the things, I bring that up because that's one of the things that will be folded in to next year's budget are some compensation adjustments for our employees for the first time in a long time. Okay. And we're doing that, but as always, you know, we've checked numbers backwards and forwards and sideways and every other way coming out of what we've been through as a university. I want to have every assurance and confidence that we're not overreaching or overstepping in anything we do on compensation. And I do not believe we are. And we'll talk more about that at a future meeting, but I want you to be aware of it. And I want to bring it up today. And of course, other related items concerning the budget. That will be our only, unless Governor Landis tells me otherwise as the chair of the committee, that will really only be our only subject for the day is next year's budget. The other piece is that I'll check with Mr. Dunn, but May 6th, the state is supposed to have their budget. So we'll know about those state funds and for sure what we're doing there. So we can all budget with slightly more confidence and then we'll be able to get faculty and staff salary contracts out for the next year.
Well, I think everyone on the board here will be very pleased to see that happen. Well deserved and long overdue. So that's good news.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the March 31st, 2022 financial report as presented by Mr. Morrison?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
all
Governor.
opposed, say nay. Motion passed.
VP Morrison, I did have one more question for you. Those bids that were.
Excuse me, Governor Berry, is your time not about up?
The clock is ticking. I just wanted to ask if any of those bids that were approved have any effect on the deferred maintenance that we talked about
Yes,
at our last.
yes, they will. They will. The windows will help that, do that because those windows are critical maintenance. So it'll move over to another part. So yeah, the RT lab, no, it will not. Because that's just new space, revamping a space. So it will not come off our deferred maintenance. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Next up is Academic Affairs, Dr. Mark Manzanero.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we are in our last week of classes, final exams next week. So it's crunch time, and very grateful to faculty and staff and students getting through this important period of the semester in the academic year and on to graduation a week from Saturday. As usual, we have a lot of great stuff that our faculty and staff and students have done that are in the academic affairs section of the board book. I'll just hit on a few highlights. Our master operational plan, as you know, we're nearing the first year, end of the first year of the utilization of the map. And that team is gathering last quarter data to prepare for an annual progress report on the plan that will be shared with the Board of Governors at the August meeting. The various units are evaluating the map outcomes with an eye to make recommendations, benchmarks we've achieved, where we may need to adjust goals and targets. This is an ongoing, will continue to be an ongoing process. Dr. Luann Haggard, who's our Director of Assessment and Accreditation, continues to lead these efforts. And this ties in completely with our Higher Learning Commission reporting cycle. So that's a good thing. Strategic faculty hires, as you know, at the beginning of this academic year, we started a new process of asking for and considering proposals for faculty hires based on a lot of data in terms of enrollments, student demand, et cetera. We have conducted a second round of evaluations this spring. The first round was in the fall. These in the spring resulted mainly from recent retirements and resignations and some current vacancies. We were approved for 15 faculty searches in the fall, 14 in the spring. Actually, all but 5 of those 29 searches are vacancies. 5 of them are new, almost all connected to new programs that we've started based on projected growth. We had an important accreditation visit this last month. A team from the Council for Accreditation of Education Preparation, CAPE, that is the principal accrediting agency for departments of education, held a cyclical virtual site visit at Missouri Western, which included our education department faculty and staff, as well as administrators from across the university. Really happy to say that by all accounts, the team reported that our education program not only met all standards, but really passed with flying colors. They cited no recommended stipulations, things that we needed to attend to in our next cycle. So very pleased and proud of that. Academic program review. You'll remember that this is the first year. We're nearing the end of the first year of our academic program review cycle, whereby every academic program gets reviewed cyclically about every 5 years. The first year of those reviews were completed, and those included programs in nursing and affiliated nursing programs, as well as in business and finance, supply chain management, marketing, et cetera. Those reports went to the deans and on to the provost, and those have been reviewed recently, and we're memorializing those recommendations in terms of, moving forward. We had, I'll just tie into this, our last joint chairs meeting of the 4 of our joint chairs meeting 2 Fridays ago. And one of the things we did was we had Beth Potts, who is the chair of our academic program review committee, and Luann Haggard come and talk through that first year of academic program review. And I liked how Beth Potts described it as a kind of wellness check, right? You go in, you check your blood pressure, you see how a program is doing, you look towards some common metrics to suggest how a program can continue to improve and grow, or note, deficiencies or shortcomings. So I have been in meetings with the incoming provost, Laura Reynolds, had a Zoom meeting with her. Vice Provost Hepworth and I did this week, and we're continuing to meet to talk about these. And I know she wants to continue these joint chairs meetings and increasing that communication between the provost office and deans and chairs. We had The first conference on applied learning in higher education, CALHE, which is a national event, held since 2018. We had that here in Missouri Western from April 21st to the 22nd. That conference focuses on applied learning in community engagement, on research activities, et cetera. And that was a real success. Finally, I'll just mention that the undergraduate curriculum committee approved a number of new programs this spring to begin in the fall, newer revised programs, which of course are conditional upon acceptance of the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development. You've seen these programs, but those include a number of those micro-credentials like the laboratory technician, pre-apprenticeship program, the applied behavior support program, a special education micro-credential, a digital media micro-credential, et cetera. So we had some significant revision of our curriculum review process this year that will take effect this summer, which will ensure that curricular review will be occurring throughout the academic year at regular intervals. We've got a lot of great work going on. We want to make sure it gets through the system so that it doesn't take multiple years from the first conception of a new program, right, or a revision to see, to see the light and have it on the ground. So that's my report for now. I'm happy to answer any questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have a report on student affairs and enrollment management by Dr. Melissa Mace.
Good afternoon, Chairman Eversold, members of the Board of Governors, President Kennedy, colleagues, and Griffin community. With finals kicking off in just a few short days, we are wrapping up a great year of student engagement, student service, and student recruitment and registration. I have provided a comprehensive written report, but I would like to share some highlights of the previous few months. March was a very busy month for the Center for Student Involvement. A team of 5 students traveled to Topeka, Kansas, where they competed in a 2-day intercollegiate leadership simulation and competition. And a group of 5 students traveled to Starkville, Mississippi for an alternative spring break experience where they assisted in building a house for Habitat for Humanity. In addition to getting to see the house in its final stages, they also got to meet the family who would be living in the home our students helped to build. The Center for Diversity and Inclusion launched DEI Training Tuesdays for students and has offered several workshops. Additionally, the center partnered with registered student organizations, Black Student Union, NAACP, and the Association of Latin American Students to host 17 events during Black History Month. 7 students participated in the Missouri Partners in Prevention meeting of the Minds Conference in April, and the Student Government Association collaborated with the Center for Service to host Missouri Western's inaugural participation in the big event on April 9th. And just so you know, the big event is a nationwide movement of college students engaged in service to their local communities for one big day of one big thanks at one big event. Missouri Western State University has been selected to participate in the Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development's Student Journey Mapping Workshop Program. Missouri Western State University is one of only 12 institutions selected in the state to participate in this program. Dr. Arnold Cook, the director of the Career Development Center, will be leading Missouri Western's team. This workshop focuses on how we might best help adult learners enter higher education. As you can imagine, the Center for Academic Support has been very busy as students prepare for finals, and the Center for Student Success and Academic Advising has been meeting with students and helping them register for classes for the fall semester. Speaking of academic advising, Dr. Ollie Bogdan from the Department of Education and Dr. Stacia Benzel from Communications received this semester's Advising Shout Out Award. And Dr. Jennifer Jackson from the Department of Communication received the Outstanding Academic Advisor Award for the 2021-2022 academic year. Notably, Missouri Western State University has been designated as a first-gen forward institution for the 2022-2023 academic year. This designation was extended to 53 higher education institutions across the country for recognition in their demonstrated commitment to advancing first-generation student success. Missouri Western is the only higher education institution in the state of Missouri to receive this designation in the 2022-23 cohort. Just 2 nights ago, Missouri Western held its annual SOAR Awards, Student Orientation and Achievement Awards. It was a spectacular recognition of all of the great things our students are doing on campus and in the community. One of the many highlights of the evening was the swearing in of the president and vice president of the Student Government Association for the 22-23 academic year. Mr. Nathan Scott, who is in the audience today, was sworn in as president, and Ms. Lauren Bloodgood was sworn in as vice president. My heartfelt congratulations go out to Nathan, Lauren, the award winners, nominees, all recognized on Tuesday evening. And just last night, the Center for Student Involvement hosted an end of semester bash, putting Gap on the map in Kelly Commons with over 500 students in attendance. It truly has been an exceptional year. This year, admissions has done more to tell the Missouri Western story and recruit students to the university than at least in recent history. We have diversified how we reach prospective students. The team has traveled to hundreds of high schools, attended countless college fairs, visited community colleges, developed agreements with both high schools and community colleges, put up billboards, held webinars and Griffin Experience Days, mailed beautifully designed postcards and brochures, thank you marketing, emailed, text, called, placed newspaper ads and Instagrams. And I have personally signed nearly 3,000 letters of admission for freshmen and transfer students. And we are not finished. We are wrapping up regular high school visits this week, attending decision days and preparing for summer orientation. And we will continue to reach out to prospective students throughout the summer. Every member of the admissions team, along with faculty and staff who have helped with the events, has my gratitude for working so hard and staying focused on the goal of sharing how great Missouri Western truly is. Let's take a look at the freshman admission data. As of Monday, we have admitted 2,510 freshmen. That is 594 more admitted freshmen than at the same time last year, and 358 more admitted freshmen than what we had admitted on August 9th, 2021 for the fall 21 academic year, which was 2,152 admitted freshmen. Transfer student admission is also showing signs of growth with a modest increase of 14% over the same time last year. At this time last year, at this time of the year, we focus a little less on the number of admitted students and a lot more on the number of students who commit to Missouri Western and select their Griffin orientation date. On this slide, you actually see 4 bars for each of the Buchanan County high schools. The first gold bar represents the number of commits that we have this year as compared to the blue bar, which would be the number of commits we had at the same time last year. And next to that, we would have the next gold bar is the number of Go registrations we have at this time this year versus the blue bar, which is the number of Go registrations we had at this time last year. As you can see, we are experiencing growth in commits for Central, Lafayette, Benton, East Buchanan, and DeKalb. We are currently flat at Bishop LeBlond and experiencing decreases at Mid Buchanan and St. Joe Christian. As I mentioned, the second gold bar is Go orientation. Again, we see growth in Central, Lafayette, Benton, East Buchanan, Bishop LeBlond, and DeKalb, with decreases in Mid Buchanan and St. Joe Christian. I wanted to throw this slide in, even though Savannah High School is not in Buchanan County, they are so close that I thought it was worth showing to you. I'm just incredibly impressed at the growth that we're seeing in Savannah High School this year over last year in both commits and Griffin orientations. All 6 Missouri territories are experiencing growth in the number of students committing to Missouri Western, and 5 of the 6 territories are experiencing growth in Griffin orientation registrations, with only 1, North Kansas City, is currently flat with Griffin orientation registration. Here we have our top producing Missouri counties. All 5 counties are experiencing growth in both commits and Griffin orientation. That is Buchanan, Jackson County, Clay County, St. Louis County, and Andrew County. Our top Griffin rate states, again, are Kansas, Illinois, Nebraska, and Iowa. This slide provides an excellent demonstration of where the admissions counselors will be focusing as they wrap up high school visits and decision days. And that is with working with students who have committed, but who have not registered for Griffin orientation yet. You'll see, especially Illinois and Nebraska show a pretty big difference between the number of commits and the number of Griffin orientations. Top undergraduate majors: nursing, psychology, undecided business, undecided health and science and careers, elementary education, criminal justice, and social work. Across the board, these majors are experiencing increases in commits and Go registrations, with the exception of undecided business. However, one possible explanation for undecided business being down would be the significant increase we are seeing in management entrepreneurship. 67 admits versus 3 last year, 20 commits versus 1 last year, and 16 Griffin orientation registrations versus 1 last year. Housing and residential life. We continue to promote on-campus living to all of our students, and one indicator I thought I would share today is new student housing contracts. As you can see, we are experiencing growth in the number of new students deciding to live on campus next year. And as of just this morning, we have 228 new student contracts versus 162 at the same time last year, for a growth of over 40%. And overall, contracts are up 11%. We will continue to reach out to current residents to make sure they get their housing contracts renewals completed. We will also continue to reach out to our prospective students to encourage them to live on campus as well. As I mentioned earlier, we will continue to work throughout the summer to enroll a great class of new Griffins. Thank you, and I am happy to take your questions.
Dr. Mace, can you talk about the best indicator as to freshmen coming to Missouri Western, whether, or just how the housing deposit and the GO orientation registration contribute to that? The best.
Sure. What I love seeing is that we're up in all of the categories, right? So we're up in admits, but admits is admits.
Mhm.
And then we're up in commits. And we're up quite a bit in commits, right? And then we're up in GO registrations. Every single one of those feeds off of the other.
Mhm.
And then we're up in housing
Mhm.
and those housing, securing their housing, the housing contracts. All of those line up to say that all of the indicators say that we are on track to have more students on campus next year than we had on campus this year. They are not an indicator of exactly what that number is going to be.
And then remind me, what is our housing deposit? Is it $50?
Our house, it's not a deposit, it's an application fee, and it is $50.
And
Yes.
then lastly, what is typical of our university for incoming freshmen? What % typically lives on campus? Do you have that information?
Let me do some quick math in my head. So,
Put you on the spot, sorry.
huh?
I put you on the spot.
You
sorry.
did put me on the spot. If I think about our full-time enrolled students and the number of beds we had filled in the fall, which was 804, it'd be what, about 25, 27%? Is that what I'm thinking? So about that. Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I did have one more just comment. I've received a lot of thoughtful reflections from students on behalf of the events hosted since the last board meeting from the Center for Student Involvement, particularly those related to the Black History Month and the speakers we had on campus. And there's a really unique exhibit going on in the CSI now too. So just wanted to commend your group for working on those things. It's great.
Thank you. And I can take no credit for their work. I'm lucky to have an exceptional group of people who work in the division. Thank you, Hannah. Governor Barry.
Any other questions or comments?
Dr. Macy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
A lot of tremendous information and growth areas, but one with saying, it's curious to me that North Kansas City is flat in that area in recruitment, because that's such a population growth area. Do you have a theory or an opinion of why that is flat?
So we saw an increase in admits for North. I don't have admits up for the counties or for the territory system, right? We saw an increase in commits. Right now, we are flat. I can't explain why we're flat. I am hopeful that we will ultimately be up. I'm a little disappointed that we're not up more. I would expect that we would be up more. But I think that some of it is that we're just now able to get the story out there about Missouri Western. And I would expect that we will build on that in years to come. I think the fact that we're making positive strides sets us up for success both this year and for future years.
Well, Dr. Mace, that's very encouraging numbers and trends. Appreciate what you and your staff has done, as the fuel that drives the university is the students. So good job, well done.
Thank you. Thank you. We take what we do very seriously, and we know we're here for the students, and that's what we do.
Keep up the good work. Dan.
Thank
you. For your
Thank you
report.
very much.
Next, we'll have a report on the athletics from Teresa Grossbach. Switch.
Good afternoon, Governors. Dr. Kennedy, Missouri Western. Appreciate the opportunity to present on athletics and recreation and esports. Just a few updates on NCAA. Activity continues around convention proposals, the Management Council, and some of the items that have changed with the Constitution. One that's of interest is that there is a motion that will be on the floor next year to eliminate the standardized test score from initial eligibility requirements for incoming freshmen. So Dr. Mason and I have had that discussion, and it aligns a lot with the trends that are happening right now in higher ed. So that's likely to make it a little less confusing for student athletes. They've also extended COVID-19 alternative eligibility for incoming students that are first time enrolled at an institution. So that'll be on the floor. And then there's a lot of activity around the Constitution implementation. A lot of it centers around student athlete involvement on national committees. So having representation on the President's Council and an actual vote, having representation on D2 with another additional student athlete and a vote. And then potential alcoholic beverage sales at Division II championships if they meet the right criteria for the venue in particular. For MIAA, we were very excited to note that Shelley Lowry will be going into the MIAA Hall of Fame. She's a former Griffin volleyball standout. And if you look in the board materials, just a tremendous amount of awards, anything from two-time MVP to an AVC first team All-American, All-Region, academic All-American, and led us to a national championship appearance in 1995. So that event will happen June 6th in downtown Kansas City as part of our annual summer meetings. We were pleased to be able to host our 22nd annual Golden Griffin Awards on Monday, finally back in person after a 2-year hiatus. For those of you who attended, we appreciate your attendance. There was a lot of energy in the room, tremendous amount of awards, and the video content created by our director, Ryan Menley, who's supremely talented and led the charge in this entire event. Our male student athlete of the year and female were named. So was Evan Shohan from football and Emma Hoffert from softball. And those really are the culmination of the 3 C's. So it's not just the competition in a given year. It's also about their academic performance and their community and how much they give back over their career as a Griffin. Coach of the year, probably no surprise, Candy Whitaker was the selection by the students, given our Elite 8 run. Newcomer of the year was Jalen Haggard. The Griffin Cup, that's once again a cumulative award for all 3 C's. That was Griffin Tennis. And then really proud for the James J. McMillan. That has to do with the highest academic achieving student athlete senior that's graduating. And we had 3 for the first time in history, all 4.0s. Trey Asher from baseball, Allie Tauken from volleyball, and Jacob Euler from cross country and track. And Mark Mills was very pleased. They were all from his department in biology. So he gave a shout out as well. And then there was other awards, one in particular to note, and it's further along in my report with personnel, but Dr. Eric Kramer will be leaving us. Very proud of his efforts. He finished his doctorate in December, and so he's been hired at Illinois State as a faculty member. He'll teach in the grad program for a lot of GAs for athletics in particular. But SAC decided to defer the award to a student and give it to him, and then also name the award after him, which I thought was very fitting after 15 years of service to the institution and just for what an incredible human he is. So really, really amazing event. So we were pleased to have that. Another big one coming for us, we'll have our annual auction and charity classic, which is our largest single fundraiser for the department. And so that'll be June 4th at Yellow Frog. We'll host the auction. And then June 6th will be at the Country Club for golf. If you have any interest in joining or supporting, contact Marion Carvin. We'd appreciate that. And then just moving to individual updates with teams themselves. I think the entire campus community just rallied around us, and we so appreciate the support for our women's basketball team during the Elite 8 run. So the first time we had gotten that far since 1995. If you were there at the Central Regional, the first game we won 111-76, and we probably broke about every record you can imagine in not only our record books, but Division II. It's not often that you see a 7 seed beat a 2 seed at a regional. I think that speaks to the strength of our conference. And then you move forward and we beat Kearney 72-59. We'd lost to them twice in the regular season. At one point, we're down by 20 some points. Then again, we beat Fort Hays State University 70-69, who was the host seed. And it was a hostile environment of probably 3,000 to 4,000 fans that were in the wrong black and gold. And so we were incredibly excited. It was tremendous. We had 3 student athletes who were recognized for all region: Brianna Budgets, Corbin Cunningham, and Jalen Haggard. And Brianna Budgets, they call her Brianna Buckets, was named the most valuable player for the tournament. Another piece of that run is something that we'd never done before, which is have a student athlete win the NCAA Elite 90 Award, which is all about academic recognition. And so Caden Cobb, who was a member of our team, was the first to receive that in Griffin history. So that's an elite award. And then, of course, we had all conference players for the basketball team. They're listed in your materials. Men's basketball also was recognized between Will Eames and Jaqueline Mays for all conference. Had a tremendous performance at indoor track and field. Hannah Williams and Jordan Garr won titles, first title for Hannah in history. Jordan Garr was back-to-back in the shot put, both then qualified for nationals and both becoming All-Americans. For Jordan, that was his first. For Hannah, that makes her a 2-time, the first 2-time in program history. And we have expectation that they'll both be representing us again at outdoor. Alex Crouch for baseball broke the record for home runs in Griffin history. So that was on April 19th in a 5-2 win, hit the 15th home run of the season. And it was held by 3 others at that point. Griffin softball is winding down. They're in 6th place right now. We anticipate they'll be in postseason, have a couple more this weekend. Joe Yegi did secure his 700 career victory, which is pretty impressive. And then more accomplishments that haven't been done in a long time. So Griffin tennis, first time we defeated Northwest Missouri State in 37 years. And I didn't say that wrong, it was 37. First time in 26 years that we have been regionally ranked. And right now we're number 5 in the region. And we just beat Nebraska Kearney. So I would anticipate that that will put us into the regional next week. Right now we're qualified into the MIAA championship. Back-to-back qualifiers for Alicia Gann in women's golf for the regional. So she'll be competing in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Men's golf finished 6th. Jeffrey Johnson, first time we've had a first-time all-conference player since Pat McCarthy. Sorry, there's this long list here. I'll keep going just real quick. Lacrosse, 3 more total wins this season than we had last season. So impressive leadership under our interim head coach, Jess Berg. Looking forward to the future of that program. And then Griffin football kind of wrapped it up. You'll see our schedule coming out here for next fall sometime this week. Hosted our annual golf tournament. Dr. Kennedy and I were there to speak to a packed house of 36 teams full of donors and alumni, which was a really great sight to see. Moving to personnel, we have a new face that'll be joining us next week. Not to steal Dr. Kennedy's thunder, but new athletic director Andy Carter will be here on Monday. And so the press conference will be at 2:30 in our Hall of Fame. So we hope to see you all there. And then shifting gears to look at recreation services and esports. I think just a tremendous year under the leadership of Emily Ludwig. Had over 700 individual users visit the facility, over 2,300 guests at our Thomas Eagleton pool. A lot of that community engagement with St. Joseph School District. And then we will start moving into summer hours here shortly, and we'll continue to support student efforts there. Griffin Esports, we did have a competition against other MIAA schools. Currently, we're in the Peach Belt with future hopes that the MIAA will have a league itself with esports. There's some statistics listed in there with check-ins. That continues to rise under Luke Tice's leadership, and then continue to do programming. A couple of fun ones that'll be on the docket here, the Rocket League Rumble, which will be for business leaders in the community on Friday, if you want to enter and join a team. And then Nathan was a huge piece of this, our president for SGA, but we had our 2nd annual 24-hour live stream for charity for the Children's Miracle Network. And correct me if I'm wrong, $2,422 raised. And so that's the most in a single stream that we've had so far. And we'll continue to do that to try to give back. And we'll be hosting a number of camps this summer, whether it be for youth camps, a showcase, or a team camp. So lots of great things going on. But I just want to close by saying I appreciate the opportunity to serve in this role throughout the year and all of your support, and look forward to the future of Griffin Athletics. And I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Well, before you run away, Teresa, yes, we were all very grateful for your work, but I think you neglected to name one award that was given at the Golden Griffins, and that's because our own Teresa Grossbach was nominated and won the Griff Up Award. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for all your service.
well deserved. And thank you very much for stepping into the breach and doing a magnificent job. Next, we'll have a report from the University Advancement and the Missouri Western State University Foundation, Dr. Mark Archambault.
Thank you, Governor Ebersol. I thank you for the PhD. I know getting to Western and advancing your education is great, but this is the fastest it's probably ever happened.
My pleasure, Bill Ward.
And I'm very proud. I have a few brief updates on behalf of University Advancement, Alumni Engagement, and the Foundation. Earlier, it was referenced that a generous donor has been supporting the respiratory therapy lab. Mosaic Life Care is that local healthcare organization that pledged $500,000 to help advance the respiratory therapy lab. Though the first half of that pledge has already been received at the foundation, the second half of that pledge is due within the next 45 days at the most. The Phonathon program will continue throughout the end of April, reaching out to engage a variety of prospects for prospective donations. The spring campaign for the annual fund was launched in March and continues underway. It featured student athlete Bailey Gilbert, and you can read more about her story at griff.vn/Bailey. Amongst the new funds that was created at the foundation in this past period between board meetings was a new scholarship. The Helen Reiner Memorial Scholarship was established with a generous donation from the Reiner family. Preference will be given to supporting graduates of Bishop LeBlond High School. The Ambassadors Group, which are tireless supporters of the university's non-traditional students, held its spring luncheon in the Hall of Fame room in Spratt on April 21st. Featured remarks from Diversity and Inclusion Director George Hudson. He, in my opinion, just did a spectacular job. And if you have the opportunity to hear him speak, you will be very impressed. He does a wonderful job of articulating exactly what a contemporary learner is and gave the ambassadors a nice view into what a student at Missouri Western is more like today than they may have been accustomed. The foundation's annual donor appreciation reception was last night. We heard from President Kennedy and from Bill Grimwood, chair of the foundation board. We had a significant number of guests, and I think most enjoyably had a chance to interact with a significant number of students, about 21 student presenters who came and presented their research and applied learning experiences in the form of posters. We had a number of faculty that came along to support them as well. It was a good evening of fellowship and a great opportunity for the foundation to say thank you to its donors. On the alumni engagement side, we held Grad Fest on April 12th and 13th for our graduating seniors, also known as future alumni. That was held in the Alumni Welcome Center in Spratt Atrium. Seniors collected their legacy cords and license plate frames from alumni board volunteers. Students also received their caps and gowns. Photo opportunities were provided, and everyone rang the bell to celebrate graduating and/or having a job. The Alumni Board held its retreat on April 9th. The slate of officers for the coming academic year include Lamonte Hunter, Brian Gray as vice president, and Mary Workman as immediate past president. Outgoing board members were recognized, and alumni award recipients were identified and will be recognized at the Alumni Awards Banquet on October 7th. One quick item from the foundation, happy to pass along to the board that the foundation has opened up to bid its financial auditing services. This is a routine process we do every few years, and that process is underway in terms of selection now. That's my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has them.
Well, I have a comment. I was present last night, and I was most impressed with the students and their work that they displayed, and the information that they provided on what they're actually doing. Very informative.
We're extremely grateful in particular to Professor Mike Ducey, who was it's a huge agent in inspiring these students to come and make those presentations to our guests, notwithstanding that they're on the cusp of finals. So they were very dedicated young people.
And it was even more impressive that we had, or that one of them had a live demonstration alongside their poster. There was a tub with 4 turtles in it. Came from the pond across the road here.
Governor, I was even more proud that at the end of the evening, there were still 4.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, sir. Now we'll have a report on marketing and communication from Becky Dunn.
Good afternoon. My report today includes 4 main initiatives. As I've mentioned to you in our last meeting, we have launched a master campus events calendar and proud to have it live on our website. If you visit our homepage, you'll see events, and then you can drop down to academic calendars, athletic calendars, or campus events. This is a collaborative effort with the Campus Event Steering Committee, and our goal is to increase engagement in campus events, explore opportunities to collaborate and promote. And we're working through a process to streamline how those events are published on the calendar and to really help get the word out about what's happening on campus. Second, we are working on content development for a new Griffin Succeed marketing campaign. The concept here is to use Griffin plus the action verb that relates. And this really organically has developed through the Master Academic Plan. So we're focusing on our mission as an applied learning institution and the quality of our students and our alums and the work that our faculty and staff are doing. So stay tuned for more Griffin Succeed marketing. You've seen this in our billboard campaign with alums, and it will be rolled out in our admissions materials for the next recruitment cycle as well. I'm going to skip custom view book and come back to that at the end. We have collaborated with technical services to launch a new Gold Link portal. This is also mentioned in VP Morrison's report. This is a portal that students, faculty, and staff use to access several applications and resources that they use to manage their personal and academic information. So students will use this to register for classes, supervisors use it to approve timesheets, and faculty use it to monitor class lists. So this new portal is hopefully a more engaging way that our community can access those resources. And it also has an opportunity for customization. So users can customize what they display and what they view through that portal. And marketing and communications will now oversee updates to the portal, and we can add some more pizzazz. Since it launched, we have had 2,600 visitors. The top 3 most visited links are the Gold Link homepage, my courses card, and user profile. And Mondays have the heaviest traffic. So we're excited about what Gold Link will bring to our community. Moving forward, our team will be migrating more of our content from our intranet pages into Gold Link so that we really have one place that everyone can go to find all of the resources they need to be successful Griffins. In my board report, you'll see analytics. So we've included information about our project request forms. So you can see from the 1st of February to the end of March, our team processed nearly 540 projects. And so we're excited to have this role and to support our campus community with graphic design, with web, with video, with photo. A lot of good work being done there. There's a new element in the social media analytics. And so if you look at our report there on page 58, you'll see that we have also listed the new followers that we have for those different accounts in that time period. We've indicated what the largest form of engagement was for each platform, and we've added analytics about LinkedIn. On April 1st, our new digital marketing coordinator joined the team, and we're excited to have her on board and ready to move forward with more strategy and focus in the area of social media. I'll go back to our custom view book. This is a digital tool that we launched on March 1st for prospective students. It's a customizable view book that students can use to learn more about Missouri Western. And there are some analytics in the board report that I'll describe briefly. So with this tool, it's available on our homepage, but we're also recruiting students and sending them links directly via email, through text messages, and including it in our publications. So as you look at the analytics on page 58, you'll see leads by campaign. So where are we getting our leads from? And the top one would be text messages, followed by our website. Next, when you look at those leads by source, how are they getting to the actual site itself? Again, those text messages, emails, postcards are first, and then the website. And then top academics. So students can choose which programs they want to view, and so you can see a list there of the most popular programs that they're choosing. And also within the view book, they can select different areas of student life, and you can see what they're most interested in. This is really informative because it will help us make decisions about the content we promote, what we focus on, areas that we want to go deeper, and it can really help us know what students are interested in. And I'm excited to give you a demonstration. So Chris, if you'll pull up the staging link, and Dr. Mace, if you would like to come up and speak a little bit about how we got to where we are with this particular tool, be happy to let you hear that overview, and then I'll walk you through this view book very briefly.
Thank you, Becky, very much. So a little over a year ago, I began to talk to you all about the idea of a digital view book. It was something, we were deep into COVID, and we didn't have a significant presence digitally. And so talked with the Stephen Craig School of Business came on board to help fund the first year of the 3-year project. And then came on board with marketing to one, go through the bid process, look at how we were going to utilize this significant digital platform for recruitment, and that is the primary purpose of this is recruitment. And then marketing took over really as developing the product once we established who we were going to be working with. I think you're going to enjoy this product, the demonstration that Becky's going to give you. It does a lot for us, and it just went live
March 1st.
March 1st. So it's kind of a soft launch, and we will really utilize this tool a lot for the next recruitment cycle, which begins July 5th.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So when you see this first screen, it allows students to indicate if they're interested in undergraduate, graduate, or workforce development courses. So Chris, you've got undergraduate highlighted. You'll scroll down and hit next. Once we have decided what area of study, then we have all of the different colleges. We also have a list of majors through A to Z, and it gives students a lot of different entry points to find the specific major that they're wanting. So Chris, select anything. And you can select more than one, but it's fine just to select one so that we can move through the demonstration. And then you'll scroll down and hit next. Next, we have those student life options. So Chris, if you'll select maybe one or two from each, just two, like select one of those and then find another category and select one. Perfect. Hit next. And then type in some contact information. This is our staging link, so this is not going to mess with Dr. Mace's funnel. No inflated leads, don't worry about that. Yay, Chris, you're going to be a freshman in the fall? Can't wait. So after all the information is entered, it loads very quickly, and this is also mobile friendly. If you'll scroll down, you'll see that it's customized, says, hello, Chris. We have some standard information here that we want all students to know, and including this fun video, which we're going to watch. If you'll scroll down a little bit more. This was made by our videographer, Elliot. Perfect, thank you.
No losses, I don't do lipo. A few screws loose in the head, I'm a psycho. Promise you the bar just as real as the bite though. Misunderstood, you could call me a typo. I shine hotter than the stars in the night though. Hate the who's, don't give me a title. Flipping an asset, so I don't worry the price though. Got scratched like mine, no, leave it to the tribal. Be careful not to get too close, I might just go.
like that video. All right, and as you go back into, are you still in the? Perfect. Okay, so then as we come down here, you'll see that there are again, some more options of general information that we want students to see. So featuring Gold Fridays, talking about some of the unique options that are available at Missouri Western. Chris, under next to welcome, if you'll hit academics, do you see at the top your navigation? Wonderful. If you scroll down, this will show the programs that he selected whenever he was looking at that major list. And within each of these program areas, students will see degree options, career opportunities, applied learning, sample courses. We'll provide a quote from an alum or a current student, and then any other special information about that program area. Chris, if you'll select student life, again, next to academics, scroll down. And this showcases those the elements that he selected under campus life. And then next steps, again, at the top. This will direct Chris to apply now and also provide some more information about that process. And through the information that is selected and submitted, then admissions will have those qualified leads that they can use for follow-up. The view book can be, a student can request multiple versions, edit those selections, and they're delivered via link to them through email so that they can have that initial view book or the number that they continue to submit. They'll always have each version available to them. It's a great tool. We're excited to see what it will do in the full recruitment cycle and very excited about the content. It'll be easy to update as well as we move forward and have new things we want to promote. And as we use the data from the analytics to improve the tool, we can make sure that we're providing students exactly what they want to know. And that concludes my report.
Comments or questions?
I'm very impressed by this workbook tool. I think as students continue to be more and more online, as the age group gets younger and younger coming up through, I can just see this tool being really great for incoming freshmen.
Thank you.
And it's nice to have Chris back as a freshman.
Yes.
Well, I was impressed with it myself, especially the video. However, my mid-70s ears didn't quite comprehend the music, but I'm sure the younger generation does. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's a catchy tune. It was a catchy tune.
Okay, now we have the report of the student governor, Hannah Berry.
And my written remarks can be found on page 60 in the board book or section C. I just begin by detailing the period of the semester that we're in as students, where if you asked anybody, they could probably spout off exactly everything they have left to do before the semester comes to a close for them, and particularly the seniors. I can speak to that myself. But I just wanted to reiterate my gratitude and just how proud I am of the faculty, staff, and students for their academic achievements this semester. As we've heard today, there's a lot of award ceremonies and other events where we get to celebrate those academic, athletic, and other achievements of the semester. And that's fun to see as a student, the things that my peers are engaging in, but just a really great time to celebrate the fun things, especially props to Teresa and the award ceremony earlier this week. There was a unique energy to help celebrate. And then just reiterating my thanks to the Dean of Students Office and the employees at the Center for Student Involvement. As I spoke to earlier, there's been some really engaging and thoughtful events hosted this semester. And it's always great as a student to have the opportunity to engage in critical thinking and unique conversations outside of the classroom, just as a part of your learning experience as a Griffin here. So that's really great. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Governor Berry. Now we'll have a report from President Kennedy.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Chair Eversold, Vice Chair Schoonover, and governors. To echo the many sentiments of those expressed, it is crunch time. But I would also kind of humbly offer to the governors that The 21-22 academic year has been a very good one. It has been a year filled with successes among our students, our faculty, and our staff. For example, we've seen our students work in a variety of disciplines and formats, whether it's research, publications, performances, and that work has been recognized on local, state, and national levels. Our faculty's efforts in research, publications, and the scholarship of teaching and learning have earned accolades in many, many arenas, and our staff's endeavors, making a more beautiful and safe campus, supporting our students' successes and promoting faculty development, and working so hard to ensure the viability of the university have also been worthy of our recognition. We have strengthened our relationships with many entities in St. Joseph, Buchanan County, and Northwest Missouri, and we're incredibly grateful that our commitment to our region has been reciprocated by our many business, industry, governmental, and educational partners. We are eager to continue on these paths and grow stronger in our connections. And of course, we have been able to lift the state of financial emergency because we are no longer in a dire financial position and have emerged a stronger institution. That alone represents an impressive amount of dedication and hard work. As I have stated often to the board, one of my goals as president has been to grow Missouri Western's role as an integral, engaged component of our community at every level. Signs of which are well becoming evident, as we have heard from many of the reports this afternoon. We are moving forward. So let me just present a few additional highlights that haven't been mentioned thus far. So take this into stock. Over the past academic year and across all three colleges, nearly 250 Missouri Western State University students engaged in no less than 75 distinct applied learning experiences. Our faculty have participated in nearly 150 scholarly and professional development activities, and faculty and staff have garnered nearly 50 different accomplishments, ranging from grants, receiving awards, and other recognitions. That's outstanding. Our Griffin Office of Applied Learning and the Career Development Center collaborated to host yet again the annual Missouri Regional Industrial Science and Engineering Networking and Employment Event, or MORISE. This event brings our STEM students together with employers to learn about opportunities as they prepare to enter the workforce. We had a total of 129 people attended, including 84 representatives from 31 regional employers, 32 students, 13 faculty, staff, and administrators, and over 20 of our alumni in attendance. A couple of other highlights I thought I would mention to you. We also had, in conjunction through our Prairie Lands Writing Project and the Department of Communication, they hosted 153 students from 12 area high schools for the High School Writing Day. We had attending students coming from schools including Benton, Cameron, Central, East Buchanan, Gallatin, Kearney, Lawson, Osborne, Plattsburgh, Savannah, Staley, and Stewartsville. Quite the nice representation. I also want to mention to you, our physical plant has completed yet another paving project. This time they're involving the service drives to Potter and Looney, and hopefully, as you arrive to our campus today, you notice the impact that some of these efforts have made. Everything from the paving to the flower beds that are being planted to the new roof that we have going on. Those are making a huge difference to the aesthetics of our campus. And as has been mentioned, we have celebrated our achievements across a multitude of events. This is, as I call it, April is event season here. So we have been celebrating. I do want to mention, we held our faculty and staff recognition awards and retiree reception. The first time in 2 years, we were able to bring that back to its former state. We had 80 folks in attendance, and we were able to recognize the excellence of our staff and faculty, our retirees who have served the university so well, and to recognize the service milestones for our employees who have provided such dedicated service to Missouri Western. We have graduation or commencement, and it culminates our season, and I'm very proud. Hannah did not mention this either. She is one of our student speakers for graduation, and we're thrilled to hear that. All of this, I hope you're recognizing, and I hope it's coming to your attention. Our campus is vibrant. We had a wonderful year. Our students are engaged in the classroom and beyond, and our faculty and staff have had an intentional focus, as always, on our student success. We are moving forward with clear direction and sure purpose. So let me just give you a few brief updates about our university initiatives. I do want to mention to you our strategic plan, Pathways to Excellence, is in a sunset mode. It is had been created to end in 2022. Therefore, we are taking another look at that. I have asked Dean Joel Heyer, who is Dean of the College of Liberal Arts, to lead this work. He'll be collecting data regarding attainment of the plan's objectives. And he's going to begin the initial stages of his work this summer by holding some focus groups, which he'll continue throughout the summer and into the early fall. And rather than engaging on a complete plan revision, his work will provide some slight adjustments so that it is better fit with our master academic plan. I wanted to give you a heads up because that work, as I mentioned, will begin soon, and we'll have more details to share as that comes forward. I also wanted to mention, we heard about the Griffin Esports 24-hour live stream for Extra Life. That's part of the Children's Miracle Network, and they raised so much money. I was one of the administrators who participated. I had a match with Vice President Morrison, and I just want to mention that I beat Daryl. We had 3 rounds and I won. Yeah, that's his story and he's sticking to it. A couple of other things about community engagement. As I've mentioned, always, it is my efforts to infuse Missouri Western into our community. We've had lots of opportunities. I had the honor of meeting with Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe on April 1st while he was visiting our region. On April 11th, I participated, it was a first for me, in a Community Alliance podcast. It was video and audio, and it gave me the opportunity to talk about all things wonderful here at Missouri Western. I did a presentation for the Imagine St. Joseph 2040 implementation team meeting. This was April 18th, and I've been invited to do a similar presentation for Community Alliance that will occur in May. Tomorrow, I'm actually presenting for the Mosaic Life Care Health Systems. I'm going to be providing a workshop on the Joyful Leader. That is part Missouri Western, but part also to my background in thanatology and dealing and working for hospice and bereavement. So I'm excited to do that. And then also in May, the 17th and 18th, I will be participating in the St. Joseph Leadership Partnership to do the DC fly-in. We have lots of meetings scheduled, particularly with Senators Graves and Hawley, to discuss issues most pressing to St. Joseph and our entire Missouri Western region. I also finally wanted to provide an update about our funding requests to the county, Buchanan County, related to ARPA. We have made several of those requests, whether it's for our law enforcement academy, bleachers for the Chiefs camp and what have you. However, we did also put in a proposal for $300,000 to add to the funding for our RT lab that we've heard about. Because this is coming from the county, they have given us a favorable review, and we anticipate that this will be a positive outcome. But they have asked for board approval to approve a resolution as the governing body of the university that confirms the university's eligibility for and will enable the university to receive ARPA funding. And it is my understanding that if you approve this related to the RT lab, it will count for all of the others. So without that, I present this resolution to Chair Ebersold, and you have the details there as well.
Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution 2022-02, the resolution on authority to accept American Rescue Plan Act funds and delegation of authority presented by Dr. Kennedy in her report?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, say nay. The motion passes and is approved.
Thank you, Chair. Just let me offer this as conclusion. I just want to reiterate that Missouri Western State University is moving forward. Okay, and I cannot thank enough the diligent work of every member of the board. Your support, your guidance has been tremendous. But I also want to acknowledge the hard work of our entire campus community, our faculty, our staff, our administrators, and yes, our students, particularly our students. all of whom have created a vibrancy on campus, a meaningful collegiate experience, both inside the classroom and out. Everyone is focused on the success of our students, and the dedication of our faculty and our staff to providing the most excellent educational and overall experience is our focal point. And to this, I must repeat, Missouri Western is moving forward with clear direction and sure purpose. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions or comments? Thank you again, Dr. Kennedy. We appreciate the work that you're doing and the direction that our university is headed.
Thank you.
And I want to thank the Board of Governors for their hard work and support of this effort. As the chair of the board, excuse me, it is my obligation to make board appointments. So for the nominations committee, Lisa Norton and Kayla Schoonover have been appointed. For the Innovation Stockyard Board, Governor Al Landis is appointed. For the Foundation Board, Bob Woolman is appointed. There will be a special meeting of the Board of Governors on Thursday, May the 12th at 12 p.m. to discuss fiscal year 2023 budget. Are there any board member comments or questions? For those in attendance, Hannah Berry is graduating next week, and this is her last board meeting. On behalf of the entire board, we want to thank you for your service to the university. You have represented the Board of Governors well. As a board, we have watched you grow as a student. You have represented students well, and you should be proud of yourself. As is customary, we want to present you with this gift. Would you come up, please, Hannah? Picture, clock tower. Campus.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Also want to present you with your portrait for serving on the Board of Governors. You can hang this over your desk when you intimidate.
They'll be side by side.
One final note. I must stand up and start over. A leg cramp visited me. Okay, as a final note, as you all know, Missouri Western lost a dear friend and supporter earlier this month when Bob Norton passed away. Over the decades, Bob and Lisa provided financial support to countless projects and initiatives, including the Ambassador Scholarships, the Center for Service, the Barbara Sprong Leadership Challenge, and Griffin Athletics, among many others. Bob's support went far beyond financial donations, though. Whether it was attending games to cheer on our student athletes, stopping in the athletic offices to offer an encouraging word, hosting teams and coaches in his home, or flying groups to events around the country, his love for Missouri Western was evident. Bob's energy, passion, smile, and laughter were contagious. We share in the grief of Bob's family, including our dear colleague, Lisa. Please join me in observing a moment of silence for our friend, Bob Norton. Thank you. There being no further comments or questions, a vote will be held to close the meeting pursuant to Missouri statutes 610.021, sections 1, 2, 3, and 14 to consider legal matters, real estate, personnel, and other matters protected by law. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, we'll take a real short break and